All right. Going live. Gotta love it. It's time. So much to talk about. Trump has got me feeling away. I have to be honest. I feel away dealing with this dude at this point. I don't know how I can not. I see there's a lot of conservatives out there that do not, though. And I would be remiss to say that I don't quite understand it, but I also don't want to make it seem like I'm living in a bubble myself. Perhaps I am living in a bubble. But if it is, it's one in my own creation because I don't join in anybody else's bubble. I take all the information, I put it, I examine it heavily. So then when if I'm in a bubble, I'm in a bubble of my own creation. It's a bubble that I create so that I can get my own. I'm just sorry, I was just letting in Dion, my co-host who just joined. And I like having my own bubble where it's critically thought out and I'm not relying on anybody or anything outside of my own discernment, my own critical thinking perspective. We're about to get started any moment. I see I'm a little bit early. This is good. Dion, welcome.
All right, my friend. I have to have a little
I don't have my
America
headphones on. I just
250.
realized because I can't hear a word you're saying. So allow me to.
I was
Yeah,
saying,
I'm sitting here and
happy
your,
4th of
your lips are
July.
moving in your mouth and no words are coming out, but it's on my end, not yours.
No, well, I was out. Well, the audience can hear me because I was saying happy 250th anniversary independence of America. You know how some of those countries, Jamaica and Haiti and DR, they all have the little flags for independence. Well, now we do too. La la la. But Dion has another flag for you to wet your palate, my people of color. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. Ha ha ha, Leo. How you like me now, my friend?
Happy 250.
Yes, don't
Happy
say it
Independence
like
Day.
that. Look at this. We built this country, red, black, and green. I mean, ha ha ha. And
Oh,
I've worn
wow.
this shirt in years, so I'm very impressed. I can still squeeze into it.
That, now that is something I understand. You're like, yo, all these time, but I'm still, ooh, one watching. Hold on. Let me see what's happening. Give me a moment. Just streaming just started, though. I saw your conservative stuff on Facebook.
Yes, I finally got one hater to make a hateful comment. So
Oh, and what was the comment?
look at these self-haters. But that's okay because
These
that
self
kind of
haters, that's what they said?
yes, that's not going to work anymore, my friends, because our numbers are growing nicely
Your
on this
numbers in
side.
what?
Meaning our numbers of people are leaving the Democrats alone and coming over to this side, just a little bit curious. Thanks to all
You
these
know,
Democratic
I
socialist
would say I
wins.
believe you, but the amazing losses that y'all suffered under Mandami a couple of weeks ago tend to.
What losses? There was no conservative Republicans in the Democratic primary. You mean the losses of the moderate Democrats?
I mean, the ones you came on here
Moving.
crying about. Talk about how badly y'all got your ass whooped.
What? I don't understand that. This was the
Yo, you don't
Democratic
remember that
primary.
now?
Exactly, because that was a Democratic primary, Leo. That's got nothing to do with us. We have to see if their anger, like when they voted for Governor Cuomo for mayor, will spill over into November.
Oh, I'm having a hard time getting in touch with my team today. I'm not liking this at all.
Well, there's a lot going on around the world, Leo. Floods, heat waves, and since we're a lot of stuff. And that's one of the topics we're going to talk about today as well.
Floods and heat waves.
And thunderstorms. Like this weather this weekend was not good.
Oh, you one of them conspiracy theorists that's going to sit here and tell me how the Democrats did a geo manipulation in order to be able to sabotage Trump? Because that's what your party's talking about now. That's what your people are talking about.
Well, theoretically, Trump being the president means that he has control of the weather device, allegedly.
I would have said the same thing. Coming from you, that's a surprise. If there's a weather device, then who actually is controlling it? That is weird. Yeah, we live. All right. Have a good night. Okay. Yeah. Got to do my thing. Got to contact the team, get everything going. You know what I mean?
There's more magic happening behind the scenes, family, than what you'd think. We just hop on freaking Zoom Live. There's more to it than that. Let me just make sure I'm seeing myself correctly. I have the chat live over here. So let's see.
So you're not one of the conspiracy theorists that believe that the Democrats sabotaged the weather in order to make Trump look bad for his 250th address of the nations. You're not one of them. And to make people not show up to his festival. You're not one of those.
No, actually, Leo, if you want to start on that subject point, because I've been doing my homework an hour before the show, I can expound upon that if you want.
While we're waiting on people to come in, let's play around. Sure, why
Okay,
not?
fine. We'll get to that point first. We'll move it up top. So basically, Leo, I think you might have made a mistake because the one in Philly was the one that was canceled for heat, whereas the one in DC had a few shows and events postponed because of severe thunderstorms. And that's the weather report from your meteorologist, district leader Dion Powell.
No. Okay. Right. Right. So let's dig into that just a little bit deeper. Are you ready? Are you ready? So DC was experiencing heat waves of. So you're not going to put a background on? You're just going to sit there with that yellow wall?
You don't see it? I'm just the flag for 250. How they can't see it if I put the virtual. That's why I had the flags for the
All
visual
right.
stuff.
Well, you don't you've shown the flags. You can please that background is horrible. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm glad you're not eating on camera because that's never a good either.
Oh yeah, sure. They'd be late. Okay, the flag is still showing. Very good.
So then everybody's happy.
Yeah, but it's like sometimes I gotta. Okay, all right. Yeah, I guess the light is bouncing off. If I keep close to my face. Okay, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, you just can't cover your face. If you cover your face, then you can't see it. There you have it, because that yellow wall. Yeah. Well, my take.
It's eggshell white to me, at least. Well, actually, you know what? You're right. It's like a little bit of a tan, but okay.
Well, you know what it is? It's no good. That's what it is. That's what it is. Terrible. It's terrible. Now let me stop. It's terrible for the camera for real. All right. But as people are starting to come in, I guess we can get ready to share this out. It's good to have people coming in that want to talk about everything going on. Because we have a lot going on as always, Dion. Your boy Trump, he keeps it pushing, don't he?
Yes, isn't that great?
I suppose it's great under certain belief structures. Under the belief structure that all movement isn't good movement, maybe not. So you seem to be with the conservative party in believing that as long as something happening, it's good. But you know what? You know what? An earthquake is something happening. A stick of dynamite sitting under your chair would be something happening. A war is something happening. All things happening doesn't mean something good is happening.
Doesn't mean something bad
If
is happening by that logic.
that's absolutely true. So then I would implore you to use your critical thinking capabilities to decipher, determine, try to understand if what is happening is actually good or bad. Not just be happy that something is happening, especially in the political realm where something can be devastating to so many millions of people. But I digress. we got a few hundred people in already. All right. Thank you everybody for coming. We're gonna wait
Yes,
for a
for
few more
sure.
people to come in. Then we're gonna get started today on this July 5th. Happy 250th. July 4th, ID4, like Will Smith.
Gotta find a sweet spot.
Oh, actually, we almost hit it. When we hit 1,000, we're gonna start. We're gonna start. I'm gonna wait. Let's get started at 1,000.
That's fair.
It's a wonderful thing. I appreciate all the support. Thank everybody for coming. And yes, we're gonna talk about that horrific speech that Trump gave. You know what? Now I'm gonna talk about while we're waiting. I'm gonna jump on this Trump thing because I
Always.
watch his speeches. I watch his speeches. I understand why you people like it. So what he does, the man tells great stories. I mean, honest stories, no. Revisionist stories, yes. But they're great stories. He said, this dude said his people came here and they came into the forest and they cut down the trees and they laid railroads and built cities. And I'm like, yo, wait a minute. What about the people that were here? Your revisionist propaganda negates the fact that y'all killed and displaced millions of people. We came and cut down trees like the land wasn't occupied. But when you hear him tell a story, it was a great thing. He came and he cut down trees and laid railroads. So he makes it sound good. And if you don't use discernment, critical thinking, if you've never picked up a book and read for yourself, if you don't listen to your elders to hear what happened, and you believe the nonsense that spews out of his mouth, it sounds believable and good. Davy Crockett and like, yo, you're talking
Paul
about
Bunyan.
heroes. Yes, he talks about these heroes. And what did these heroes do? They came and killed the indigenous people and displaced indigenous people. Those are heroes to him. So if his heroes came and killed the people that was here and displaced them, then that's what he looks up to. Coming places and destroying and killing people of color. No wonder what happened in Iran happened in Iran. No wonder what happened in Venezuela happened in Venezuela. I wonder why he's talking about doing what he's talking about doing in Cuba. But I digress. We've hit the 1,000 mark. I'm
Thank you.
gonna put this out there. Yeah, I know you don't want to hear no more of the truth.
No, I said thank you.
God, not
Hell,
that.
I was gonna say it.
It's not like I'm not speaking the truth. I listen to him. I want to know why people like the rhetoric that this man spews. And the more I listen, the more upsetting it becomes, to be quite frank. But I digress. Let us get started. Hello, and welcome to the Think Tank, where we use critical thinking, deductive reasoning, and just a pinch of common sense to draw unbiased and logical conclusions. Today, we're here to talk about a few topics. We're going to start off with the Supreme Court rulings and what they mean to you and I. Here with me to discuss it is my co-host, the Honorable Dion Powell, who I'll introduce in a moment. First, I would like to tell you, if you like the kind of content where you can come in and hear both sides of an argument and just come up with your own decisions and critically think, then you're in the right place. You should like it, share it to your friends so that you can have these discussions with your friends. Subscribe. We're here live every Sunday, 9 p.m. We drop a couple episodes a week. We talk about all types of political, what's going on at the federal level, I should say. And sometimes we hit local politics as well. I'm your host, Leonard Sanderson, journalist, best-selling author, and of course, award-winning filmmaker. Here with me to talk about this, representing the MAGA party so you can hear what happens inside the MAGA mind, the Honorable Dion Powell. Dion, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm District Leader Dion Powell of the Bronx Conservative Party, America First, borderline America Only kind of guy here in New York. That's also a community consultant and strategic solutionist.
I'm glad you're wearing that silly hat.
It's silly, really? You don't want to make Black America great again, my friend?
It's silly because the slogan is the derivative of someone who's attacking our civil rights.
Oh, really now?
Absolutely. Let's jump into some of these Supreme Court decisions. And in case people here, for anybody who doesn't know, the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. This democracy, republic, this republic is
Constitutional
run,
republic.
is a three-branch government. Dion, would you like to use your civic understanding to explain the three branches and how they're supposed to coexist?
Once again, I got a lot of show and tell here today, like we're on one of those other podcasts. But this is called a what? A United States Constitution, my friend. So we have the executive branch, which we'll talk about later, which is President Donald Trump. We have the legislative branch, which has two houses, the United States Senate, two per state, equal to 100. And we also have the House of
Hold
Representatives,
on, break that
which
down. You
is
said that you said super state equal 100. That was not an explanation. I would have been confused if I didn't know what you meant. Break that down a little bit.
well, we're talking about the legislative branch, my friends, which has two United States senators per state times 50 states. Is 100 United States senators in the Senate chamber. Below that is the House of Representatives, which is based on population per state. And yes, so you do the math on that one. Lastly, we have the judicial branch, which is the Supreme Court, containing 9 people appointed by who? The United States Senate. It's all here in this document, and hopefully you guys will take time to read it when you can, all the articles and the preamble and the Bill of Rights. But it's our happy 4th of July weekend, Independence Day, 250 years of this experiment called the United States of America. But we're trying to make Black America great again here on the think tank, right, Leo?
I am absolutely trying to do that. And in order to do that, I have to defend the black people in this republic from one of the co-equal branches of government that are, well, apparently that has somehow gotten control over the rest and is now attacking my people. I actually feel in danger doing this. I have to be honest. I
Really?
mean, absolutely. I'd be a fool not to. He's already attacking journalists. He's made courts bow down. He's made universities bend the knee. He's attacked private businesses and made them get rid of DEI initiatives. And when I look at this guy on TV, whenever he goes anywhere, at any time, at any given point, the only people that he had that can get his ear are white males. He don't want no women around. He don't want no black, brown, yellow, nobody, red, nobody but white males. And his government is being run that way. We look at the military, we see that, oh my God, they're not promoting black people anymore. Only white people can be promoted, even if the black people that were supposed to be promoted in their stead were more qualified. We look at the same thing in government. We look and all we see is black people getting kicked out. This is not a black podcast, even though I'm a black host. So I do have my black point of view. But that does say something for what is happening overall. We'll get into the SAVE Act later. There are things that we must discuss. But first, let's talk about some of these Supreme Court cases. What do you think about that, Dion?
Well, so far we got what, 3 out of 4 on the conservative side. You guys won. I forget which one it was that we're going to talk about today. That the left one that I think Amy and somebody else voted for. Oh yeah, that was the citizenship one, right, Leo? Birthright citizenship.
Absolutely.
So me,
Yes.
I said several times in the show that what they did was unconstitutional about the
What
way the
who did?
Supreme Court. I mean, this administration, remember, I like to reiterate, I'm 80-20 Trumpster, but it was unconstitutional what they're doing based on the 14th Amendment. Now, if you read or listened to Uncle Clarence Thomas's dissension, he
Uncle
can actually
Clarence Thomas.
explain the sensitivity of the 14th Amendment being
Hey,
for who?
Crizzy.
Us, the African American descendants of freedmen. Shout out to the Freedmen's Bureau, by the way.
Okay. Again, now I'm not an attorney, and he's a Supreme Court justice. So the fact that I have to fact check him as a layman is Terrible. But the way the law seems to work is supposed to work, the way it's taught in law school, right? The way the law works. If there's a law on the books, that's the law of the land. So when a law is on the books and it's the law of the land, it applies to everybody. But the inverse, the opposite, is also true and accurate. If a law is deemed unconstitutional, outruled, taken off the books, if the law is gone, then anybody that it helped, it's no longer there for. So why am I saying all this? Let's put this in perspective for the black folk. The law was put there so black people, descendants of slaves or whatever, can become citizens, and other people took advantage of it because it was the law. So once it was the law, anybody could take advantage of it because it's the law. Now you take the law away, the opposite happens. What does that mean in English? What does that mean in layman's terms? If you take the law away, then what determines citizenship? You're taking away the law that made black people citizens. So if you took away the law that makes black people citizens, are black people still citizens? Yes, you can take away immigrants' citizenship as well. Not alone, but as well. Anybody that law affects. So then the question becomes, Dion, if now this passed by a very narrow margin. It was a 5-4 vote. Out of 9 people, only it was a 5. It was right down the middle. And one of the justices that Republican Supreme Court judges, the justices, one of the federal Republican justices that actually went against the rest of the Republicans and voted against taking away birthright citizenship, wrote a dissent. What does that mean in English? That means he said, yeah, but. All right, we're going to keep birthright citizenship, but. So we are citizens right now by this much. Because that dissent that he wrote, which means he literally wrote something saying, well, I'm against it because a dissent. By a narrow margin. Now, the problem is that was this case. The way it works is they bring cases up, right? And they challenge the case and interpret the law for the case. And in the particular case that the law came up for, they agreed that birthright citizenship should not be tampered with by that narrow margin. But that doesn't mean it's the last time that this case will be brought up. In fact, as long as Trump is alive, that case is going to be pushed. He's pushing to end birthright citizenship tremendously. This case will surface again 150%. And when it does, will it be brought in a different manner, a different light, in a different way that can make the judge that actually wrote the dissent say, you know what? Now I agree. We need to get rid of birthright citizenship because that's what Trump wants. And honestly, that can happen. Dion, I saw you shaking your head. So why don't you give me your thoughts?
Well, the Supreme Court, being the judicial branch, its job is to mandate to uphold what? The United States Constitution. Now, for your own education perspective, can you see that? Can you see that? With my face, amendments. We're talking about Section 1 of the 14th Amendment.
Dion, since we can't see the book, why don't you pull it up on the screen digitally?
Oh, I was going to read it like a little passage. But if I must, let's see if Leo actually. Nope, he did not, as always. So I got some.
I was about to see how to do it. I forgot. We figured it out last time. They keep moving it. I forgot. They moved it back to the share button. I forgot.
That's right. Zoom is always updating, my friend. Zoom is always updating.
Yes, they move it, and I'm supposed to remember where they put it every time.
I
have to. It's part of my job.
Hey, this is going to be from AI, which we could actually. Section 1 of the 14th Amendment defines U.S. citizenship, establishing birthright citizenship and prohibits states from denying anyone due process or equal protections of the law. Ratified when? 1868. It contains 4 primary clauses and ensures fundamental civil and legal rights for all Americans, my friend. So hopefully all the viewers will take time out to get a free copy of their Constitution from like my organization, or just read yourself. It's in the Library of Congress and beyond. So 250 years, this document is still growing, and it also has its own precepts to amend it again if you want to change things. So if you want abortion to be your legal God-given right, you got to do what? Amend the United States Constitution. Back to
Thank
you,
you for
Skip.
that, Dion. I appreciate your civic knowledge being expressed here on the think tank.
Yeah.
So,
Fusion.
do you understand, or what is your take, I should ask, on the fact that my analogy of what might occur is another case can be brought before the Supreme Court, and this time they deny birthright citizenship?
That's possible, my friend. Just like what they did with Roe v. Wade, which they upheld,
Absolutely.
which they did with the portion of the
Voting Rights Act.
affirmative action, the Voting Rights Act too. This is a living document, and the Supreme Court again can have all liberals, all conservatives. But yes, they can interpret the Constitution pursuant present day events and activities.
Thank you for giving all those great examples of how the Supreme Court has interpreted, I would like to say misinterpreted, the Constitution to strip rights away from American citizens. I appreciate you pointing all of them out. I see there were almost 2,000 people. Thank everybody for coming. Happy 4th of July, 250th anniversary. And that's birthright citizenship. That's the one that we actually seem to somehow maintain, even though it was by a narrow margin. Now, Donald Trump has selected multiple justices, judges in the Supreme Court. And by placing so many judges, he's got a super majority. I believe 6 of the 9 favor him 98% of the time. Sorry, numbers. God, don't God forbid I do numbers. So what does that mean, Dion?
That means that we have a majority conservative Supreme Court. However, as you can clearly see, some of the members of the Supreme Court that the president appointed, like Amy, Justice Amy, she actually is willing to vote in the lines of the liberal Supreme Court justices or the ultra left Supreme Court Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. So that's what the Supreme Court is for. They can buck against the people that appointed them because they're there for life.
Now, that's an amendment to the Constitution that might be changed should the Democrats actually regain power, but I digress.
They have to win in a landslide, Leo. 3/4 of the United States Congress have to vote for that. Good luck.
With Trump, with the economy the way it is now, it's a possibility.
Right. Well, then you can also use Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution to have the states actually individuals sign resolutions. And so far, this organization I deal with does just that. So the states can do it as well, my friend.
Trump can fire employees of independent agencies at this point. So if
Yes.
he does, so if he doesn't like how an agency is being run and he wants to, let's say, corrupt it, let's take an example. Let's take an example. Let's say he doesn't like the numbers coming out about the job reports. He fired Miss McIntyre last year, and he could just do this over and over again. You're telling the truth about the numbers, you're fired. Because the exact same thing that happened to the Miss McIntyre happened just now, where they gave what happens every time because you can only guesstimate the reports based on what the government is telling you, and then you have to revise what the actual numbers are when the real job numbers come out because now you're not guessing. You don't have to estimate. You can say, oh, well, look, this is in black and white. This is this. And once again, as this is probably a surprise to MAGA, but anybody who's been watching knows the job numbers had to be revised downward by tens of thousands because people are not getting work, people are losing jobs. Dion, what do you think about the fact that he could just fire people for doing their job with no excuse at this point in independent agencies that are not supposed to be controlled by the commander in chief?
Actually, that's incorrect.
What's
Because,
incorrect?
well, I'm about to explain to you because you really pushed me to do my homework here. Those alleged independent auspices fall under the executive branch. And so the Supreme Court, in its wisdom of the Constitution, has said, hey, wait a minute, if you, Congress, create agencies that fall within the executive branch, that means they are subject to the executive officer, which is who? The President of the United States. Now, if you want to create an independent agency that doesn't fall under the executive branch, Congress, now it's your turn. But this is a 90-year tradition that the Supreme Court has overturned because of such.
So then explain Lisa Cook.
I think it's great. Well, Lisa Cook, this happened actually before that. So before the Supreme Court made this decision, President Trump did that, and they put Lisa Cook back on the what? The Federal Reserve. So here we are
Right,
now.
but
We'll
that
see what
case got
happens now.
tried and just got recently. Lisa Cook is the only one that survived it. He can now go in, let's say.
Powell's still there, I believe. He's not the chairman. No relation.
Well, he was
Trump targeted
replaced.
everybody, and that's why it was in court, and it made it to the Supreme Court, Leo. Trump has been throwing so much against the wall that he's trying to see what sticks. And as you can see from these Supreme Court decisions, 3 out of 4 of them suck.
Of course they did, because he stacked the Supreme Court in his favor. Now he wants to get rid of the filibuster, but that's not for this episode. Unless, well, we can talk about it if you want.
I'm not prepared for that, unfortunately. I have all my notes for other stuff.
Excellent. No problem. So, I mean, it's basic civics, but we'll leave that. We'll leave that. Trump can
get through.
So you're perfectly fine with Trump being able to fire independent agencies that are in place specifically to make sure this country runs properly. Like, I don't know, you brought up the Powell, which you didn't explain what Powell was.
He was the former chairman of the.
I'm sorry?
He's the former chairman of the Federal Reserve that Trump tried to get rid of, remember?
What is the Federal Reserve and what do they do?
Oh my God, Leo, I'm not, economics is my strong suit, but
Federal Reserve is in charge of setting up the way the finances of this country work, right? Basically, they control interest rates, they control the finances. They control whether how the money flows in this country. It's the Federal Reserve. You got a dollar in your pocket, you have a Federal Reserve note. The Fed. So that's who the Feds are. So they want the Fed to be independent of the executive branch for a reason. Because any time in the history of this world where the king, the president, whatever executive power was in charge, when they got control of the interest rates and controlled the money, the country was doomed. And Trump wants nothing but to lower interest rates, which even the guy he placed there is like, no, bad idea. He got rid of Jerome Powell and put somebody there. He's like, I don't know what he's going to do, but I have a feeling he's going to raise it. That dude looked and said, bro, what are you doing?
Good thing, Leo, just like his appointment to the Supreme Court. When will people realize people in this side of the red, they are not all a cult. So you should be happy with that, aren't you? Shouldn't you?
I am extremely happy with that.
There you go.
But for reasons that you don't understand, because economics is not your strong suit. But for anybody who is watching and is curious, if he lowered the interest rates, that would have made borrowing money cheaper, which would have worked magnificent on your credit cards, car loans, mortgage rates, anything where you borrow. But the long-term impact would be devastation to the economy. The reason they didn't want to lower interest rates and they rose interest rates is because with the economy in such bad condition, if people that don't have jobs and or not barely making enough money, let's take somebody barely making enough money. It's the easiest example. So getting by, and you make $3,000 a month. Let's make the number up, and your bills are $2,995 a month. You can borrow money on a low interest. You're going to go borrow that money. What happens? Now you got to pay it back. How you going to pay back the interest if you was barely getting by anyway? So they was worried about a significant amount of things like this happening because Trump wants to make money cheaper to make it look like the economy's doing better and to help out his oligarch friends so that they can borrow more money, purchase more real estate, whatever, oil, name your asset. And once they have these things, make more money off of the working class. So that's who would have benefited, not you, not the average person. Not the average person. It wasn't going to benefit the average person. It was going to hurt the working class. So I'm not even me. I wouldn't help me right now. I'm not trying to borrow money, so it wouldn't help me. It's only going to help you if you can borrow enough money to purchase a large asset, a house, something like that, and you could turn it into money coming in. That's where those are the people that'll help. But I digress. So him being able to fire people and place them and help his friends. And who was he helping, Dion? Who has Donald Trump helped? Did he help you? You're MAGA. Did he help you?
Well, in many different facets when it comes to societal norms. Whoa, Leo, your camera.
What?
Oh no, it zoomed in on your veteran's portrait there and went over your head. So I'm not sure if it's zooming in or is it moving physically.
It's the AI.
Okay, well. So, anyway, put your thing here. Anyway, long story short, he is
Thank you,
helping
3,000 people for showing up.
exactly. I just want to say that.
Happy 250. Happy July 4th. I'm sorry, Dion. Go ahead.
Well, he is holding together the moral fiber of this country, which is a boy's a boy and a girl's a girl. On top of that, he's removing genetically XY chromosomes from XX chromosome sports, which is always a good thing. He's taking care of the migrant issue, which is actually helping Black America. And yeah, Leo, so that's what he's doing. I could add on, which remove criminals like the person that set someone on fire in the New York subway system at Coney Island, because we won't forget that one. So there you go, Leo. Back to you.
Don't have any idea what you're talking about. I don't even
Of
know if you
course
made that
not.
up.
Why go out memory lane?
Yeah, I'm sure that that's something that happened because MAGA said it's something that happened.
Oh,
I
whoa,
mean,
seriously.
listen, you also got a guy who's putting so much of our tax dollars into ICE. If you need health care and can't get it right now, don't worry. That money went to funding ICE. ICE that is shooting American citizens dead in the street. That ICE.
Not true.
That's where your money's going. Matter of fact, ICE is bigger than all but four other militaries in the world? It's the fifth largest military in the world. That's where your tax dollars is going. Thank you, Trump. You were such a big help. Shooting American citizens dead in the street. Love that. Bless you. All right. What other things have happened? No restrictions on campaign donations.
Yes.
So that's great. That sounds like it's going to help. Oh, thank you, Chrissy. That sounds like it helps. That's going to help the average American citizen.
Well, hopefully it'll help me as a consultant for political parties, candidates, PACs, to be transparent with it and to make some money if hired. Hopefully, that's as a campaign consultant's, payday bread and butter situation here. Amongst other vendors, like the printers, they get paid. All the people that make all this social media get paid. The people who do the voter data analysis, all the professional colleagues in my realm. So this is a good thing. However, PACs cannot coordinate with the campaign. So that's one of the bullet points here. I'm not sure about independent expenditure committees, but yes, there's a lot
So
of things.
how does that affect the average voter? So we understand it affects
How does that
you
affect the average
as somebody
voter?
that works for the campaign. You get paid more. How does that affect the average American's opportunity to have a fair election?
Well, it depends. For example, on the right, some of that money will be going towards something called election integrity. Just like in 2024, lawyers, poll watchers throughout all the election sites, if there's a lit ball of lint on a poll or voting
That's not
machine,
what the money's for, Dion. No,
I'm
that's not
telling you
true.
what it's for. How you going to ask me? If you look at election integrity on the right for
I asked
Republicans,
about campaign donations, and you're putting it in, and you're making
you're
something
saying
up.
where's
You're
the money going?
an
I'm telling you
ad
what campaigns
hoc.
paying.
So this is what's called an ad hoc. He's just making something up right now. This is a
That's you
fallacy.
tell me. I'm in the industry.
This is a fallacy that MAGA likes to use to obfuscate, as they like to say, or
How
confuse
you asked
you.
me a question? I'm giving you a
Okay,
respectful answer.
so let me so okay, go ahead. Campaign. So campaign donations are going to go to.
No, no, you're changing the question. No,
I didn't change the
you
question.
asked
That's
me
what I
how is
asked. That's
it?
why I said you was obfuscating. Maybe
No,
you
no,
should
no.
listen to what I said and let me read it again. Oh, where is it? Mail-in ballots? No, that's the mail-in ballots. It's not the one I said. Not yet. Trump can fire employees. Not there. Um, where is it? Oh, there's an unlimited amount of money that can now be put into campaign donations.
You mean you could donate unlimited amount of money to a campaign, right?
Yes.
Well, you're saying it
And then you said it
differently.
was great for you, and then you went off on some tangent.
I'm thinking the intent of your question is saying, how is it that campaigns can raise an unlimited amount of money through donations, help the average American citizen during this voting process? Is that what you're trying to ask me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I just explained election integrity. The next thing is, this is going to help hire people from the community, hopefully, for these campaigns, do canvassing, things of that nature. Local vendors, like I said, the printers is a very big industry. Other local media, local newspapers and such, and radio, they get paid out. Consultants like me, of course, that hopefully live in the community.
So your answer is that the politicians that get these unlimited donations can hire more people, and that doesn't affect the American voter. That affects people that they hire. So
Well,
if you're down
to
with their
affect the
party,
American voter is the messaging. They pay a lot in messaging and they also pay in polling as well to survey the people. So that's how it's going to affect the American voter with
so
mailers, phone
so
banking,
basically what you're saying is that
voter
they'll be able
engagement.
to message, they can use this money to pay people to message more. So basically, this unlimited amount of money is going to give whoever gets the money an unequal advantage and be able to press any message they want, whether it be positive, negative, or I don't know, in the case of MAGA, false.
Well, this helps the Democratic team too. This goes across the board, Leo. The Democrat socialists are really taking full advantage of this right now, thanks to George Soros money and other dark money to beat their Democrat establishment people. So in New York, it's happened here for Congress and the state legislature, but Democrats need to be worried. Not us, by the way.
Well, considering that so many Democrats are kicking socialist Democrats are taking seats. Mondami is basically the man like, yo, I choose you, you, and you. Make them leaders. And it's working. They have dubbed him the Kingmaker. So maybe you should worry. Um, we did birthright citizenship. We did
Mhm.
no restrictions on campaign donations, and you're like, oh, it's good. But the real deal is the reason that they wanted to pass it is because Donald Trump's oligarch friends will be able to donate, will be able to, the richest people in the world.
Like George Soros.
George Soros is one of the richest people in the world. I think the tech oligarch that surrounds Trump will be able to donate and be able to place anybody they want by stampeding people with messaging with no limitation to how much, like, I don't know, like Elon Musk, which we've already seen done. You know, Elon Musk. I don't know how y'all support Elon Musk. Elon Musk, the deranged man running around on that ran around on stage with a sword throwing sig hails, which is Hitler salutes.
Oh God.
Oh God, that's what I said. Like, oh my God, is he really doing this? And people are still supporting him. Is this really happening? Is he running around with a chainsaw throwing sig hails? Is this really happening?
In
But it
America,
did.
yes.
Yeah, it did. It did. It did. And MAGA still supported him. So he's running around in his Nazi attire with Americans like go for it, throwing sig hails. And he also donated more money than has ever been donated for a president in the history of this country. And that's when there was a limitation. What happens when the guardrails fall, which they have now been taken away by the Supreme Court in this decision, and now they can donate limitless amounts of money. I think that this is what Trump and his oligarchy friends wanted. And I think that the Supreme Court knew that when they made that decision. You don't seem to agree, Dion.
That's because it helps all political parties, Leo, that have money. Remember, it was the donors that told Joe Biden and his team that he shouldn't run for election. It was the donors that said Kamala Harris would be the next in line. They listened to the donors, not the voters, for the primary. Let's see what they do in 2028, because they always said they always listen to the donors, the donor class.
Now, that I don't disagree with. That is why Donald Trump does what Israel says, right? Because he got so much money from Israel. 100%.
Yeah, every president listens to Israel, Leo. So I don't know.
Well, AIPAC is running this country. I agree with that.
AIPAC listens to Israel. Look what happened to him. Ooh.
But you know what didn't happen with the Democrats?
What?
We didn't go over and try to commit genocide and take over countries that we could not and devastate the American people by having the Strait of Hormuz closed on the Democrats. That was only Donald J. Trump. But I digress. Back to the Supreme Court. So they ruled no restrictions on campaign donations. And it's obviously because the oligarchy can now, as they've already given more campaign donations than any other person in the history of this country, now have the world's first trillionaire that can give even more next time. Yeah, that's an equal playing field, Dion. That's your story. You want to go with that? Let's do that. Meanwhile, what they're throwing in your face is, oh, we got a victory. No boys and men's sports. Dion, how many actual, I don't even know what they call them because I'm not actually in support of it. But I mean, listen, if you're gay, that's your business. If you want to, but listen, listen. I am a single father. I have girls. You know what I hate? I hate when I'm at the airport with my daughter, like she's older now, but she was like 4 or 5, and I got to send her to the little girl into the woman's room because back when she was 4 or 5, they didn't have the family room, right? Right? So she go up in that room, she in there by herself, and I got to wait outside and just be anxious and pray that nothing's wrong while I'm at the airport. The last thing I want to think is some dude in the dress is inside that bathroom with her. And if you don't like that, tough. So I have my personal feelings about it because this has happened to me on a lot of occasions as a single father. I don't want my 5, 6, 7-year-old running up in the bathroom and there's some dude in a skirt in there. Boys and men, yo, listen, I play sports. Maybe you're not athletic, but I am. Do I think that a dude with boobs should be playing basketball against women? No, that's stupid. Men are physically stronger. This is not up for the debate. But for how many times has that happened? How often is that? How big is that in the real world? When we got people that we got millions of people that have had food security stripped away, with tens of millions of people that have had healthcare taken away. And we're talking about a couple of guys that can do a bench press. So what? Let them work that out at the local level, especially if you believe in local government as conservatives and Republicans are supposed to.
That's right, Leo. Go back to script, Leo. You got to go back to script. You can't leave the plantation. They're going to reel you back in as a black man. You got to push this Kool-Aid.
So what are you talking about?
I'm just here listening about you legitimizing on the state level why it's okay for boys to play in girls' sports.
I did not okay it. As a matter of fact, all I said was that I don't agree with it. So push whatever narrative makes you feel good.
Still stands. So despite your
what I said was that we have more important things to worry about than sports.
Yeah.
Sports is not my main concern. Food security, healthcare. These are my main concerns. You're talking about some damn body shooting a basketball hoop. When I'm looking at people, when I walk outside, when I'm on the parkway and I see on all 4 lanes, different people holding out cups asking for food, and you talking about somebody shooting a basketball, I think you're stupid.
Well, that's a local level issue, Leo. Them hold out the cups. Like in New York City, for example, we have
So
a
hold up.
Department of
So them
Labor.
holding out the cups is a local level
It's
issue, but
squeegee man,
shooting a
squeegee
basketball is
man.
not. But shooting a basketball is not. That's what you're saying.
Well, yes.
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. There we have it. So, according to Dion, we should be worried about basketball, not hungry people.
Remember, the
Wow.
country people are still here before, during, after, and during again with Trump. What makes you think the hungry people won't be here after Trump leaves this time again? Now, this men and women's sports situation, that's relatively new, family. So think about the pattern here. Pattern recognition.
The amount of hungry people since Trump has been in office has skyrocketed. Anybody that walks outside and goes anywhere can see that with their own eyes. This problem, at the level it's at, is purely demented Donald J. Trump. But I digress. If you haven't noticed the skyrocket in homelessness, if you haven't noticed your bills going up and wondered how other people that make just a little bit less money than you might possibly be able to survive, if you haven't heard the news about all of the people that lost their health insurance and are now suffering, then I am not speaking to you. I'm speaking to the people that know. But I am speaking to you. And you know what I'm saying to you? Do your homework. Use your own critical thinking and decide for yourself. Go check it out. So I guess that's it with the Supreme Court cases. There are a couple other cases that came out. Well, there's one other. Glyphosate is now protected. What does that mean? Glyphosate is something they put in fertilizer that, I'm going to use a big word, then I'm going to break it down, is a carcinogen. The word carcinogen means causes cancer. So the Supreme Court protected Bayer, who owns the people that Dion loves so much. So Dion, that's kind of like counterintuitive for me. You're very against the ouchie thing, but Bayer's the one that brought the company that provides it, and the Supreme Court is protecting them while they put glyphosate, a carcinogen, a cancer-causing agent, into food fertilizer. So you're protected. So you're protected. You're against the ouchie shots. You're against that, but you're for the protection of the company that actually provides them and puts cancer-causing agents into the pesticides that they use on our food. Could you somehow make that make sense? Please.
Well, like I said at the top of the show, 80-20 Trumpster. So this is the Maha side of the family. And I used to work for Kennedy's PAC again. So great shout out to them. But this is something that we don't agree
Wow.
with.
Well, just so you know, Maha is the ones that was pushing the support of Bayer to be able to put the glyphosate into the
I
fertilizer.
don't think that's what happened, Leo. That's definitely not
That's
what happened.
actually exactly what happened. But go
Maha
ahead.
is totally against this and also chill
No,
self-defense. I've
actually,
also
if you don't remember, they marched, the Maha supporters marched on Washington, D.C. because of this,
doesn't
against
disagree.
Kennedy and the
Yes,
Maha.
exactly. That's the point, Leo, because that's why we're 80-20 Trumpsters. It's the 20% we don't agree with. Get it? So we're not a cult like you keep telling the world.
I'm not telling the world y'all are a cult. Y'all are acting like a cult. So you're
No,
just
I was
saying
just proving.
is, so you can be a cult. You don't have to be in agreement 100% with everything to be a cult, Dion. That's not the definition of a word.
Oh, here we go.
So,
Semantics, everybody.
oh my God, facts. No, not facts. Don't use those. Not again. Why do you always got to bring facts up, Leonard? Oh man. Actually, I think that's a post hoc, right? It's a false equivalency. You bring up a false equivalency between two things. It's a post hoc. Thank you for that. So it's another fallacy that it's a logic fallacy. So what happens is the MAGA movement tells so many lies that you could just pull up like 6 or 7 of the most utilized logic fallacies there are, and you can just keep poking them out like, oh, you did this time, you did that this time, you did this, you did that, because they keep lying, and their lies fall under certain fallacies that you can just point out like, oh, you use this one this time, it's kind of cool. I can tell which fallacy ad hoc when you just, I'm sorry, post hoc when you just bring up a false equivalency. So, but I digress because that is not what's important at the present moment. So you're against glyphosate.
Yes.
I love it. Supreme Court ruled for it. And I guess I should bring up that Carol has won her Supreme Court case against Donald Trump for R-wording her.
That's not true.
That's absolutely true. And she was awarded
No, it's
$5
not.
million.
No, it was sexual assault and defamation, Leo. You can't use the R word with Trump. Ask George Stephanopoulos and how much ABC News had to pay him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. Hopefully that doesn't happen to the think tank.
Nope, because we fact checked. I got fact checked very quick. Let me see. E. Jean Carroll.
That's her
No, this
name.
is
What a psychopath.
the psychopath that even the Supreme Court was like, the courts is like, nah, she did it. He did it. Pay up. You lied and said you didn't do it. You did it. The man is a sexual abuser. It's been proven in court. He tried to get it thrown out. That didn't work. We know what he is.
Oh, now you want to insinuate some more slander? Good luck.
Slander.
People don't believe her. Unfortunately, public opinion has swayed from this, Leo. No matter how much you use the R word to try to.
You want to make it seem as if she's lying, but the courts obviously believe her. And the reason the courts believe her is because there's credible evidence.
That
To believe the man that straight up will tell you he can grab him by the crotch and kiss them and he can get away with it because he got money, didn't grab him by the crotch, is, if you believe that, then you believe what you want. But the man will sit there and brag that he does these things. So then why is it hard to believe that he does it? He brags about it. What, are you serious?
He doesn't
People don't believe
brag
it.
about grape.
Everybody knows he does it. This is not, everybody knows he does it.
He's not guilty of grape.
He brags about grabbing women by their private areas.
So?
He brags about it. He brags about walking into teenage pageants while the girls are naked, that he can walk around in there. He brags about these things. This is something he's proud of. This isn't something he tries to hide. These are the things he brags about. And now you're like, oh, the people don't believe him. You're trying to tell that lie, hoping that if you repeat the lie enough, that it will work. But everybody knows
like
he does
the R
this.
word you use, that's a lie, and it's not working anymore because people know the truth.
No, I'm sorry, you're right. I shouldn't use that. That's only the word that his wife used in her book. Oh God, no, so his wife was lying, right? It's only the word his wife used. His wife said she did it. He did it.
Which one? Oh,
that matters, right? Oh, it's not this wife, so it doesn't matter. It's not the one that was stripping down in front of magazine covers. Not that one. It was the one prior to that. I get it. Not the one stripping down. Not the one, for ladies and gentlemen, not the one that strips down the magazine covers that was introduced to him by Epstein, who we know who Epstein is. That's who introduced him. What do you want from me? Not the wife that was introduced to him by Epstein. No, not that wife. The one prior to that. The one he R-worded brutally, according to her words in her book. But I digress. That's not important.
Of course.
It's not important.
Tell
now. He's going to pay for his crimes. Iran. Let's run into Iran right quick. The week began with Iran and the U.S. agreeing to once again adhere to the MOU, the ceasefire that's in place with the memorandum of understanding, the ceasefire that's in place that not shoot at each other. But Iran refused to meet with the U.S. despite Trump's claims that they were going to meet. It was like, we're going to meet. They was no. We don't want to meet with you. We don't trust you. We don't believe you. You're a liar. That's what Iran said. Israel, on the other hand, is like, yo, we're going to make, for every woman that had to cry for a loss of their child, we're going to make 12 women crying in Lebanon. They attacked Lebanon. Lebanon defended themselves, and now they want to use that as an excuse to keep attacking. They're embargoing aid to Gaza as they continue to attack Gaza. They're insane war criminals. Insane. But we don't have to go too deep into that, because you're an 80-20 Trumpster, and what that means is you believe 80% of the stuff and deny 20% of the stuff, and because of that you're not a cult, even though you're a cult. And I mean, what's the definition of the word cult, Dion?
You're gonna want me to read word for word verbatim right now?
I'll do it. You don't have to.
Why bother
I
asking
will
me?
share my screen.
Just try to project. That's called projection, Leo. Trump is an R word.
This.
Boom.
So you wanna do that, Dion? Let's see. What is this? This seems like a fallacy. This fallacy would be an ad hoc, also known as an ad hoc rescue. Occurs when someone. This is another fallacy that MAGA likes to use. An ad hoc fallacy occurs when someone invents an unsupported, usually unprovable excuse on the spot to salvage their argument from their disproven arguments. A cult is broadly defined as a group of people unified by extreme devotion to a particular person, idea, or religious system. So I'm gonna replace a person with, I don't know, Donald Trump. A cult is broadly defined as a group of people unified by extreme devotion to Donald Trump or a particular person, Donald Trump. In modern and sociological context, the term frequently refers to an insular coercive group led by a charismatic figure who manipulates followers and restricts their outside connections. I don't know, like a bubble. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a great example of how it's a bubble, right? So, me, myself, as somebody who provides news, I need to get my information from both sides. So, I have an X account, particularly for this. And as I was scrolling through my X account, I saw things like, would you vote for Donald Trump? 0 to 10, 0. Would you vote for Kamala Harris again? 0 to 10, 10. 2 days later, my account was no longer active, and they said, because I violated community rules. My violation was saying I wouldn't vote for Trump. So they don't want my messages on X because they need to control the messaging inside the bubble.
Then go to Blue Sky, like other liberal Democrat people. Go to Blue Sky.
The point is, in case you missed it, they need to control the information divulged inside the bubble. They can't even have people give their opinion in X because they don't need their people to see those opinions. They need everybody in that cult to believe the people that are showing extreme devotion to a particular figure. That figure is Donald Trump. So it's a cult by the definition of the word. 80-20 Trumpster. An 80-20 is extreme devotion. 80% is extreme.
That's not.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? If it was 50-50, you were neutral. If you were 60-50, you were close to neutral. If you're 70-30, you're kind of high. 80-20 is extreme, bro. Again, we're talking math, and I know that's not your strong suit, but it's extreme. 80-20 Trumpster, extreme devotion. So, I'll disagree with some of the time, but most of the time he's correct, regardless if he's correct or not. That's extreme. But I digress. So, a cult member, right? Which is fine. I mean, I don't have any problems with you being in a cult. It's okay. It is. It's okay, Dion. We all fallen for things in our life. I'm no exception. I've fallen for things in my life. It's nothing bad. It's just it is a cult. So anyway, let's get back to this. We're talking about Israel, I believe, correct?
You kind of touched upon the Gaza situation, yes.
Right. So they're continuing to hold. They're Israel's population is like you 80%, and that they want to take over. They want more war. They believe they deserve more of the Middle East. Now, what's wrong with that? Let's start with the fact that there wasn't even a country before 1947. So they're a new country that came there with holding Bibles, talking about, or I'm sorry, the Torah, which is a Bible. It's a small book.
Verse
Actually,
5.
if you're a Christian and you don't know what the Torah is, if you open your Bible and you look at the book of Moses, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, you're holding the Torah. They go in there and they hold this Torah and they say, by this book, this land belongs to us, so they should be able to kill everybody there. And they go into the Bible and they find extreme examples like Leviticus, Exodus, excuse me, where their leader Moses walks out of Egypt, and goes into the new land, Babylon, Iraq, and they are ordered to kill every man, woman, and child. And if they don't, they're disobeying God. The book of Exodus, in the Torah, which is in your Bible. And they use this as proof that they're supposed to do the same thing right now. And these are what they're doing. But that's religious rhetoric. But that's what they're doing. They're trying to take over the entire land. And the vast majority of Jewish Israelites, they're not really Israelites, I don't want to call them Israelites. People that live in Israel,
Israelis?
Jewish people that live in Israel, are for this massacre of their surrounding colored people. This is what they're doing over there. And Donald Trump is paid for, and so he's supporting it. Let's go into Iran. It is destroying our economy, but he's over there with a smile on his face. They're controlling 70% of the Gaza Strip as we speak. I'm sorry, it's 93% of Israel once was in the Middle East. 93%. It's quite a number. According to their polls on their television station, 93%. Now that might be a lie. Because I know a lot of Jewish people. I got Jewish members in my family. And I'm talking about the Ashkenazi Jews, the ones the pale-skinned Jews. I'm related to some of these people. I love some of these people. And you know what? The truth is that they're for it. Others are not. But I have family members that are for it. And, we don't talk to this day because of it. These people have killed 23,000 children with double taps. One to the head, one to the chest.
Let's not get graphic.
But you're right. Let's move forward. You don't agree with what's happening in Iran. You don't agree with what's happening in the Gaza Strip. You're a 20-80 Trumpster, 80-20 Trumpster, whatever it is. You only agree 80% of the time.
There you go.
So my picture. I guess it loves that picture
AI,
because
man. You
I
gotta
am
fix
a
the
veteran
AI.
and this is July 4th. You're wearing a flag. I represented the flag. Trump stocks, he traded over $2 billion since his presidency began last year. He's made, $2 billion. He's made $1.4 billion in crypto alone. He made more money in crypto in the last year and a half than he's made his entire life. As a 20-40 Trumpster, 80-20 or whatever your numbers are, how do you feel about the fact that Donald Trump is the greatest grifter in the history of the planet?
I feel great because as long as he's pissing people like you off, the happier we are. And that's all we need, basically.
You're happy that he's making me angry because he's taking money from hardworking American people.
He's just being Trump. He was already a billionaire when he became president.
No, he was not.
So he wasn't a billionaire when he became president, Leon.
No, he wasn't.
Okay. Well, long story short, Trump, as a businessman, is used to making millions and billions before he became
No,
president.
he's never made $1 billion before. It's not true.
Okay, well, I'll leave that up to you, the viewer, and his AI, which keeps switching out. And I'm starting to get a nosebleed.
Uh, let's see how much he actually was worth.
Before he became president?
2024. Excuse me, it says he was worth 4.3 billion on the Forbes 100 list, near 8 billion during stock rallies for his media company. No, I want his personal wealth, not his media company.
Oh, here we go with the semantics, everybody. Yeah. How much money does Donald Trump have in his wallet right now? Oh, see, told you he's not a billionaire.
Oh, that's 2024.
You want 2015, Leo?
No, no. Okay. Let's suppose he was a billionaire. Let's
Oh
say he was
God,
a
here we
billionaire.
go.
All right. So he's made $2 billion in 500 days, while millions of people have lost food and tens of millions have lost medical. And you're okay with that because it makes people angry. That sounds like you're a sociopath. You're happy that people are suffering because it makes people angry. That doesn't sound good,
Because
Dion. It
they
sounds like you're a
hate Donald
sociopath.
Trump. Donald Trump is pissing people off because he's just being himself. He's being authentic to himself. He's not being a politician, and it's driving the world crazy because they're so programmed to politicians and not somebody from New York like Donald Trump who's just going to do it his way and be himself
Dion,
and not to fit
you're
into a political
happy
mold.
that people are suffering because it makes other people angry. That makes you a
Donald Trump.
sociopath, man.
Donald Trump. The existence of Donald Trump as the president of the United States pisses people off by default. And we on the MAGA side are very content with that.
We're upset because of the damage he's doing. We don't care about him. If he was doing great, I'd support him.
No, you
I would
wouldn't.
support anybody doing good.
No, you
He is
wouldn't.
hurting people. What, like, you're celebrating him hurting people because you're part of a cult that has such a great deal of devotion to this man that you won't look and see the obvious. Wait a minute, this don't make sense. He's hurting people. Like he's hurting people. All right, that's cool. Uh, you're defending
The indefensible.
his. I'm sorry.
I'm defending the indefensible, Leo. That's how the cliche goes.
I'm not even going to. I'm. The Heritage Foundation
Yes.
did a study, and since the 1980s, for almost 50 years, there's only been 100 cases of election fraud. What is that? 2 cases a year? This is the Heritage Foundation. Would you like to tell the crowd, the audience, who the Heritage Foundation is, Dion?
The Heritage Foundation, kind of like the think tank here, is a civic foundation in which it reviews a lot of interesting factoids about America, like any other political policy institution. So, from the right perspective. So, right now, when it comes to election integrity, they want to research about voter fraud, especially when it comes to illegals voting and some other matters.
What are they most famous for, Dion?
Well, Project 2025, is that what you want me to say there?
That would be what they're most famous for, so I guess the answer is yes.
Well, they're most
The
famous
Heritage
for being military.
Foundation,
So,
creators of Project 2025,
what other
in
people?
all of their research, could only find 100 cases in the entire 50 years throughout all 50 states in federal, local, and state elections. 100 cases of election fraud, which means there's no widespread election fraud.
No, it doesn't. Doesn't
According
mean that at
to,
all.
so what does it mean to you, Dion? The people that are looking to
It
find it the
means
most, the people that are looking the hardest, the people that are claiming it the most, can't find it in all of their studies. What does that mean to you, Dion?
It means to me the Heritage Foundation doesn't really have the capacity to do a full and thorough investigation. On top of that, the states and localities giving them access to voter information, trends, and voting patterns and data. So that's what it says to me. Just like the president of the United States. You know, I mean, court shut him down in Fulton County. How soon did we forgot about Fulton County, Georgia?
Where do I begin with that? Let's start with you just made up some stuff that even the Heritage Foundation isn't claiming. Even the Heritage Foundation said that they had full access. Your claims just now, ad hoc. You just made it up to obfuscate. Once again, ad hoc for anybody who doesn't know is a logic fallacy that someone comes up with on the spot at the tail end to try and confuse the audience because they don't have anything solid. It's called an ad hoc when you make something up on the spot because there's nowhere, anywhere in any of the history out of Donald Trump, out of the Heritage Foundation, out of anybody that said the things he just said that what was it you claimed? They didn't have the resources. They had the resources. It's not there.
But I didn't say that. Also, I also added that, you know, I blame the states and local board of elections, elections
And now you
commission.
went to Fulton County.
Fulton
So what
County
happened
is a
in
perfect
Fulton County,
example.
Dion?
Fulton County is a perfect example because they were trying to deny access to voter records. So
Why was they
that
trying to deny access, Dion?
because they obviously were trying to cover up the truth.
Or is it the fact that they were trying to come in there illegally and take votes
Here we
away? And
go.
what will happen? Oh, here we go. Oh no, no, no. It's not. Doesn't matter. They was trying to break the law. That has nothing to do with it, right, Dion? Right, Dion.
Where there's smoke, there's fire, my friend.
Dion, that is crazy. So you're saying that because the Trump administration wanted to suddenly make something up and go in. Well, it's Fulton County. Isn't that one of the places that Donald Trump was like, give me 500 beautiful seats? Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's the seats.
That's
Find me
they had the
30,000
black
votes or
woman
whatever.
Fannie Willis trying to take him down. Come to find out, she was actually having sex with her employee. Remember that, Leo? Now she's in trouble. So
What you say
back to
about
Fulton
Bondi?
County.
Not Bondi. What was
I'm
it?
talking Fannie Willis. Fannie Willis. Remember all the lawfare trying to make sure Trump didn't win the election, and they're trying to throw him in jail. Well, that's Fannie Willis from Fulton
What does
County.
her personal life have to do with Trump's illegality?
Well, it means that the court
It's an
case was
ad hominem attack.
compromised.
You're attacking the
What
person,
ad
not the
hominem?
facts.
These are facts, Leo. And of course, the media is suppressing it because they don't want to do any kind of follow up. But if she took down Trump, they would be a whole bunch of fireworks and media storm. She was in the news all the time until Trump won the office again, and now she's in trouble. The microscope is under her. All
The
right,
microscope is on anybody that takes it off of Donald Trump to a cult member.
here we go.
Well, we just defined cult. If you didn't, I didn't bring cult up. You brought cult up, so you made me define
Wait,
it. Now that it's been defined, now I have to use it. You did this to yourself. I didn't bring cult up. You did. Now that you know that you're a cult member, don't stop bringing it up. That's my suggestion. Wow, we're at 4,000. Thank you, everybody. Happy 4th. Thanks for coming to join us. Let me jump in the chats right quick, see what's going on. If sports was the main concern, we would live in utopia. Unfortunately, we live in a developed nation where healthcare isn't the right. Wow, Crizzy on it today. Bayer either strikes diamond or uranium. Thank you, Dan. We're trying to bring that smoke. You know we always do. Welcome back. Yes, Joker, they do. Active. I'm glad that you understand better. I do my best to try and divulge the facts so that you can, so that everybody here can have a better understanding. Yeah, these decisions are going to influence us for decades to come. Made strong points about judicial authority. Thank you very much. Um, just I don't know FGJ. Thank you. It is fascinating. Thank you, Ron Saval, Tarjan. Raised good points about raised important concerns about the real world effects of these decisions. Okay. I suppose I can't argue. Both are basically the research. Yeah, we on it right now doing our research. Court decisions often have consequences far beyond the courtroom. We're about to see that. This was a respectful, informative. But we're not done yet. We got a few more topics to cover. Mike Johnson says he runs. All right, complete internet monitoring. Heritage Foundation. All right, let's finish with that heritage. So You believe that we should, because Donald Trump is trying to push the Save America Act. You seem to believe that despite the fact that the people supporting him the most cannot find any evidence of widespread election fraud, that he should have the capability to enact the Save America Act, even though I can prove right now that this will disenfranchise female voters.
No, it won't, Leo.
All
But
right, I'm
yes, I
glad you
do.
said that. I'm glad you said that. Let us look at the actual law. I was hoping you would fall into my trap. This is a trap. I've been telling you all along what this law said, and you always deny it.
Here we
What
go.
is this? Congress.gov. What does Congress.gov mean, Dion?
It's a federal website.
Documentary proof of the United States citizenship. If I found that here, what does that mean? Does this mean that it's the actual bill was actually written in the bill, Dion?
Yes.
All right. So we're in accordance that if it's written here, that's what it means.
It still has to be interpreted, my friend.
Okay, it has to be interpreted. Right. All right. Ensuring
Remember,
only
Congress
citizens of
writes the laws and the courts interpret the laws. Yes.
that is correct. So let's see what is written.
Yeah.
A valid government issued photo identification card issued by a federal, state, or tribal government other than identification described in paragraphs 1 through 4, but only if presented together. So a valid government issued photo identification only if presented together with one of the following: a certified birth certificate, a unit of local government in a state or tribal government which was issued by a state. But it has to be a valid government issued photo identification card, has to be presented with a certified birth certificate by a state, local government, or state or tribal government. So, as I've asserted since this began, you have your ID has to match your birth certificate. And if you're married and you've changed your last name, then your birth certificate and your ID don't match, which means you can't vote. So this disenfranchises tens of millions of American women. And there it is in black and white. Now I want you to go ahead and let's see which fallacy you violate.
According to the polls, most of America supports the Save America Act.
So you're just not going to address the fact that it disenfranchises women. According to the false polls that Trump quotes that don't exist.
CNN actually reported that, my friend.
Show me that. Pull that up.
All right, my
Because
friend.
as you see that if you're a married woman and you change your last name and it doesn't match your birth certificate, you can't vote. Black and white off the government website, that right out of the actual bill. This is not up for debate. That's what the bill says. That's where we stand.
Whoops. Did I? Okay, here it is. All right. I'm Mickey. Do you see it?
Okay. Why don't you read what it says? You didn't want to read that because it definitely didn't say what you said. They said, okay, read it. Go ahead and read it.
Let me see if I can find the article. Let's see.
Oh, you don't want to read it? No. Why don't you read what it says? It's telling you in black and white what you said isn't true. I know you don't want to read that.
Okay, CNN polling shows that while America overwhelmingly support basic voter ID requirements, they are less enthusiastic about the specific provisions of the Save America Act. Okay, strong voter ID support. Over 80% of Americans support requiring a photo ID to vote, a consensus that crosses most demographic and political lines. Mixed support for the bill itself. When asked about the SAVE Act specifically, which requires proof of citizenship to register, support drops significantly, with polling showing opposition or uncertainty due to concerns over disenfranchising eligible voters who lack immediate access to required documentation. Bipartisan skepticism on the threat. only about 23% of the broader public believes non-citizens voting happens a lot, compared to roughly half of Republicans. Well, there you have it, Leo. They may not support the Save America Act, but they do support voter ID.
I support voter ID. Voter ID is
Oh,
fine.
now you
This,
do. Okay.
the Save America Act disenfranchises people, and most Americans believe that, according to what you just read. So your misinformation that people support that bill has been disproven by your own search. That's a lie. That's a lie. No, people do
It's
not
still
support that
stuck
bill.
in Congress, my friend. So we
People do
shall
not
see.
support that bill. And Thorne, who runs the Senate, has told Trump repeatedly, we can't get this bill through. That's why it's stuck, because he's telling Trump he can't get it through. That's why Trump is like, I'm not signing nothing else unless this bill comes through, and nothing's getting signed. That's why the Housing Act, which was a political congregation of both parties, came together to help the American people in this terrible economy, was thwarted because it went to both parties came together to put this bill. The Republicans was walking around like, yeah, we did it. It's gonna make us go great for the midterm. Trump was like, I'm not signing it because I'm not getting the Save America Act passed. I'm not signing nothing. And a bill, a bipartisan bill, a bipartisan piece of legislature that was created, drafted, signed, and voted for by both parties went to Trump's desk, and he denied it because he wants to get this bill, this very, very, very unpopular bill, to disenfranchise tens of millions of Americans passed. Donald Trump sucks. I'm sorry, and so does that bill. But and one of the main reasons is because widespread voter fraud can't be found anywhere, even by the most enthusiastic people searching, such as the Heritage Foundation, who actually created the Project 2025 to begin with. So that was probably my most important thing on any episode I've ever done. Thank you, Dion, for making that possible. I appreciate it. So they want to monitor everybody and through age verification on the internet. Let's touch on that real quick. You know about that, Dion?
Yes.
We have 5,000 almost. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Happy 4th. See, this 4. Happy 4th, peace, 4. And happy 250. We happy to have you. That's right. Let's get it, D. Let's get it. The Constitution, a very important book. We're here trying to talk about and defend. And the way we make Black America great again is by stopping Donald Trump. So I'm glad you're wearing it. By stopping things like the SAVE Act, which will disenfranchise tens of millions of people. By trying to do what we can to try and restore some of the things that Donald Trump has already taken away and try and bring back more. Thank you for wearing that hat and showing what we got to do. Stop Trump. So what do you know about the internet monitoring system?
Well, they're talking about all the times when you have to actually upload copies of your driver's license, for example, or passport, and also do facial recognition with selfies on your cell phone. Now, some of these measures are protecting children from getting access to certain things, but a lot of people, just like social media, believe it's able to trace and track normal American citizens. Remember the Patriot Act, Leo? Things of that nature.
So what do you feel about the fact they're trying to trace us and track us?
Well, I don't like it. Just like social media selling our data, it is what it is. Unfortunately, what we have to bring to the public's attention is smart IDs. Now, the smart ID is something that's trying to make required. Now, that's something that can monitor your, your behavior, your spending habits, and your travel. Whereas me, even though we're traveling interstate, meaning from state to state by the airport, I carry my passport instead. But some people have the option to smart ID. So that's something that we also have to piggyback onto this as well.
All right. So you're good with being monitored in that way.
I said no, Leo.
All right. Good.
I
All right.
carry my
Well,
passport and I refuse to get a smart ID. That's my point for me. Now, how do you feel? The
I'm
rest
talking
of
about the
the
fact that
viewers,
they want to monitor us on the internet, but you said no. So, and you pretty much explained it. We'll move forward. Complete internet monitoring. Congress, Mike Johnson says he runs the protection program and he will protect all of Trump's associates. What do you think about Mike Johnson? In case you don't know who Mike Johnson is, Mike Johnson is third in line to the president after the vice president. and happens to run a portion of the Congress known as the House of Representatives. What do you think about Mike Johnson stating that he runs the protection program, Dion?
Well, I think once again you're taking it out of context. What
I
he
didn't
was
take it out
talking
of
about,
context. I asked what you thought about it. You already so that was an ad hominem. You instead of before you even answered the question, you attacked me. I didn't say anything about what I thought about it. I asked the question about what the man said, and the first thing you said, I took it out of context. How can I take something out of context if I didn't talk about it yet?
because you only gave a paraphrase of what the guy was talking about. He's talking about the midterm elections, Leo, in which if the Democrats win, they're going to try to extract their revenge on everybody. Remember how they said Donald Trump was going to get his revenge once he won?
Didn't he
Well,
try
Mike
and attack
Johnson,
everybody? Didn't he lose cases proving that he tried to attack everybody? Is that not what happened?
he didn't try to put people in jail. And
Yes, he
that's what
did.
Democrats are known for trying to do with all their hearings. Mike
Um,
Johnson, as a
who
speaker, was saying to the Republicans, he's trying to protect them from when, if the Democrats win and have a majority in the House and the Senate, and they're going to actually use all these hearings to come for everybody. That's what his intention was.
huh,
Well, your
okay.
camera just keeps moving, brother. I don't know.
Uh give me 1 second, because that
The
is
lie? Okay.
oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I mean, we expect that. Okay. All right. Oh wow. I got a bunch of typos, so it might not be exact, but let's see. Uh hmm. The Trump administration has targeted a wide array of individuals and entities during his presidencies. Prominent targets include political rivals, independent government agencies, the press, and civil rights. Oh wow, could we be talking about somebody trying to run against him, like I don't know, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom? Let's see who it brings up. I brought up Gavin Newsom as one person that he's being investigating right now because he's running against him. Let's see what the internet said. Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Lisa Cook, Adam Schiff, Letitia James. All right, he tried to get Letitia James run up. Didn't he try and get his own lawyer Barr? No, Dion, he has outright used his position to try and jail his political opponents. That's a lie. Now, now that that lie's been exposed, the amount of grift that has continuously occurred. Do you know that some of the grift that he's doing is illegal? Do you know some of the grift that people around him is doing is illegal? Do you think that with the amount of illegal grift occurring around Donald Trump, that people that take office after him should not investigate? Is that what you think?
Yes, because that's
Just
exactly
let him get away
why.
with it?
Yes, because that's exactly why his predecessor pre-pardoned himself, his son, his family, Dr. Fauci, Liz Cheney, and so many others because they thought Trump was going to come for them. So I'm assuming that Trump is going to exercise the same powers of the pardon when he exits to protect his family, his colleagues, his supporters from all that stuff.
That's right. Like the January 6ers who ran up on the Capitol and stomped out police officers. He pardoned all of them and tried to come up with a slush fund for them. Yeah, I guess that tracks. But I don't think he's going to try and protect everybody. I don't think he cares enough about anybody. I think he's a sociopath. He is a sociopath, in my opinion, and he will not care. I don't think he'll be alive that long. I keep telling you how sick he is. He's degrading by the day. The last speech he gave on the
No, I
fourth,
hope Donald Trump
he
dies.
impressed
Drop
me
dead.
on the last. He impressed me on the last speech he gave on the fourth. He made it through in that heat, and he didn't pass out. And as much as the left tries to make him sound completely incompetent, he's not completely. That's not true. He does slur his words. There are absolutely signs, according to professionals, that there might be dementia set in. I mean, but he made it through. He seemed strong making it all the way through that speech. I was like, Dad, he's still going. He said he was going to do it, and he did it. He did it. He
Just
made it.
like Joe Biden did good to make it through the debate. Remember, Dr. Joe Biden? You did just a great job, Joe. You answered every question. Yeah. Oh, well, you can't run again anymore. We don't need you. So said the donors.
Right. So this is the Biden derangement syndrome, I'm guessing.
Oh boy, here we go.
I mean, well, listen. So when we're talking about Donald Trump, one of the biggest things, the most used weapon of the MAGA party is an argument fallacy called a red herring. They point at something else to distract you away from the target. A red herring is the actual thing being used as a distraction. Joe Biden is the favorite red herring of the MAGA party. So whenever you start talking about the fault in Trump, they're like, well, Biden, Biden, Biden. Biden is not the president. So to bring Biden up is a distraction. It's a red herring. It's a distraction to distract us from the incompetencies that are being displayed by our current administration, executive, and commander-in-chief, the demented Donald Trump. So the Biden red herring that has nothing to do with the conversation seems crazy that you would bring up. But that's what the cult is trained to do. When Donald Trump is under the microscope, bring up Biden or Obama or Hillary. One of those three. That's what the cult is trained to do. And in this particular case, it happened to be Biden. But that's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind. So I was going to say, let's discuss the difference between current policies and old Jim Crow policies. We can run through that really quickly. What is the difference to you between the policies being passed now and the old Jim Crow policies before? Well, our chat is lit up. Thank you everybody for coming. We appreciate you. While he's giving his answer, I'll see if there's anything real quick that needs to be addressed. No, nothing. You don't know. So there are no differences.
I was waiting for you to finish. Okay, so right now the difference between now and Jim Crow is that Black people are pretty much free. They can move the way they want to move.
Hold up. So we wasn't free during the Jim Crow era?
What?
We weren't free during the Jim Crow era?
No, we couldn't move the way we move now. We have lots of billionaires and millionaires now that are Black.
We didn't have that during the Jim Crow era? Well, we didn't have billionaires. We didn't have millionaires during the Jim Crow era, Dion?
I said millionaires and billionaires, Leo.
Well, there were no billionaires during the Jim Crow era, white or Black. So that's a misnomer.
I answered your question, so.
Okay, so the difference is we had millionaires. That's a lie.
We didn't have as much access as we do now as we did during Jim Crow. That is one major difference. We have more Black elected officials now than we had during Jim Crow. Understand? We have more presidents, CEOs, and other leaders in the private sector than we did when we were under Jim Crow. So there's so much to say the difference right now.
So
we have a lot of government subsidies now than we did in Jim Crow.
So we have the stuff that's being taken away to bring us back to the Jim Crow era. Got it.
Wrong.
Thank you for explaining that. Because that's what's happening, right? They're stripping all of these things away. They're restricting our financial access. They're redlining again. They're taking away our voting rights so that we won't have as much representation. They're limiting us back to what they did during the Jim Crow era. Is that incorrect?
That's incorrect. Completely incorrect, my friend.
So explain to me what about what's going on you don't understand.
I completely understand. They mean this administration, are just trying to put a reset on a lot of policies that have been used and abused by so many people, other cultures and things, under the guise of helping Black people.
Listen, if Black people were helped, they were helped. Let me give an example. DEI, right? DEI. Let's take DEI for example. Just a quick example. If they took away DEI and last year 300,000 Black women lost their jobs between January and September before McIntyre was fired and he stopped counting how many Black women lost their jobs. And this year, under the same DEI initiative that was removed, between January and April, 500,000 Black men lost their job, including most of the top Black executives throughout the branches in government. If all that was taken away when they took away DEI, then DEI was helping all of those people. So to say that they're taking away stuff that's not helping us. And that's just DEI. Let's look at affirmative action. Access to colleges that is now being taken away that we're really going to feel this year as that big ugly bill comes into effect. How about the Voting Rights Act, where there, as soon as the bill was passed, they wanted to start recounting votes and count out black votes. It almost seems like the Jim Crow era, where they're restricting access to blacks. Doesn't seem like that to you, even with all of that going on, Dion.
Nope.
Of
That's
course, it
not.
doesn't.
I'm not scared, Leo. I'm not scared. So many black people waking up like, wait a minute. We don't have to be scared. We're okay. It's those illegals that need to be scared. Ooh.
A million legal illegals didn't lose their job, Dion. Black people
I
lost
thought you
their
said
job.
I thought you said there was no such thing as illegals, Leo. What are you talking about? So they're illegals now for all intents and purposes, or no?
I was using your terminology.
Oh,
I
okay.
okay, so they're illegal because Donald Trump. So they came here legally through temporary protective status, and then Donald Trump said, "We're removing that status and making you illegal." Because he is the commander in chief, he has the capability of doing it. But they did not come here illegally. They were made illegal after they got here. They were literally grandfathered into being illegal. It is insane. But I digress. I figured since you brought it up, I would explain it because you misrepresented me. That's called the straw man attack. So you took the argument. See, there's another fallacy that the MAGA people like to use. They want to take a statement, they want to take an argument and reshape it into whatever, reshape it into something else so they can attack the weaker version instead of attacking the real argument. They want to reshape it into a weaker argument and attack that weaker argument rather than dealing with the facts. It's called the straw man attack. Just quickly, because Dion, you like to do these things. So, like I said at the top of the episode, I am all for going into these things and exposing all the lies and tactics that MAGA uses. And Dion is going to expose them all because he is trained to do so. It's amazing. Um, Thank you, Dion. I appreciate you giving me the ability to show all of the fallacies so that when they're watching Trump, they can point them out. When they're watching other leaders, they can hear it and be like, yo, you know what I heard? That's a straw man. Oh, that's a red herring. They bought a Biden. I appreciate you showing these things and displaying them so that I can teach. Because as you know, I was a teacher for years. But I digress. I move forward. So the Jim Crow policies you don't agree with. I I get it. I understand you believe what you believe. So taking away all of the rights that took us out of the Jim Crow era is not going to bring us back to the Jim Crow era, right? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
That is the same thing as you believing them taking away the birthright citizenship is not going to mean that the people that are here from under the birthright that are citizens under birthright are no longer citizens. It's the exact same thing. I Okay, boom, check it, right? If a house is built on a foundation, right? And you take away the foundation, is the house going to still stand there? It's going to stand on magic because there's nothing holding it up no more? Because what you're doing is you're taking away the foundation that our rights is based on. So if you take away the foundation that our rights is based on, how are our rights still going to stand, Dion?
I don't know what you're talking about at this point, Leo. You're going into something very allegorical in which I don't
I'm
see the
trying to
comparison.
make an allegory that you understand because apparently you don't understand the facts. So I'm trying to make an allegory. I'm trying to make it something that's more easily digestible and more comprehensible because the common facts are something that somehow are not sinking in. So I'm trying to make an example. I mean, in this particular example, the law in birthright citizenship or our rights in all of the rights that have been stripped away are the foundation that we built on. But let's just stick to one. Our rights are the foundation that we built on. That's our foundation. The rights that we fought for in the Jim Crow era are our rights. That's the foundation we built on so that we could dig our way out and try and become equal members of society, even though we still suffer things like our leaders being killed by COINTELPRO, like our our business is literally being bombed by airplanes, like drugs being pumped into black communities like crack during the 1980s under Reagan, even though we had all these things going on, the rights we had is how we built up out of the Jim Crow era. So if you remove, that's the foundation we use to build even through all of that. So if you take away these rights, what are we standing on, Dion? What what are we standing on without everything crumbling if the rights that are the foundation are taken away?
Do it. Basically, it's just going to try to put us on equal footing as everybody else and be as competitive as everybody else without having a warped fair advantage by some kind of rights in which other cultures, creeds, and sexes, for example, take advantage of, and we do not get access to.
Right. So that we can get the same fair treatment as the people that surround Trump. Oh, I'm sorry. When you look around Trump, you see that that does not work if you have eyes. Let those with eyes see. Who said that? Let's discuss. No, let's move forward. You seem very disappointed that Mondami's sweeping victories over your party's
No, he didn't run against us, Leo. You gotta get voter
well, you
education.
seemed
He's
disappointed
a
the other day. You
Democratic
literally
primary.
came on and said we got our ass kicked. We got it. We got it.
You
It
say
was
that.
bad.
I didn't say that.
Okay, let's pretend you didn't say that. So, what do you feel about Mondami?
He's the mayor of New York City. However, the Democratic Socialist of America, his political wing of the Democratic Party, has been having a lot of wins here in New York State from his endorsements, both congressionally and statewide during the
How do you
Democratic
feel about
primary.
that?
Well, number one, this is something that we didn't want because these people are crazy. But in my belief, this is something
Why are
that
they
we
crazy,
need
Dion? That's an ad hominem attack. Why are they crazy?
because these people push policies that we believe will destroy America and are very anti-American.
Why do you feel it'll destroy America?
Well, they are very godless, in my opinion, in our
They're
opinion.
godless.
Yeah.
Wow. The man
And the
is
next thing
literally a
is,
Muslim. He prays more than you do, Dion.
we're talking about the DSA, Leo. We're not talking about Mondami. He's just a pawn in the grand scheme of things. A very major knight
So,
at
wait a
this
minute.
point.
We're talking about Mondami. I brought up Mondami. Now you're saying godless.
The Democratic Socialists of America, all the Democratic Socialists that have defeated the Democrats in the primary, those are the people I'm referring to that are under Mondami's influence and control. But most importantly, the
So, the
Democratic
Muslim in
Socialists.
charge is the Muslim holding him up. The God fearing man that holds them up has a bunch of godless people behind him.
Yes.
That sounds like fear mongering, Dion. That sounds like fear
Good,
mongering.
because these people need to be afraid of what socialism really is.
What is
You can vote your
socialism,
way
Dion?
in, but you can't vote your way out.
What is socialism, Dion?
Democratic socialism.
What is socialism, Dion?
Well, let's ask the internet, shall we? Because I don't want to misquote anything here. Because let's see.
Oh,
Boom,
I'm glad you're doing this. I
boom,
can't believe you're falling for it.
boom. What is socialism? All right, socialism, economic, political philosophy advocating that the community or the state, rather than private individuals, should own and manage property, resources, and the means of production. Its core goal is to reduce economic inequality by prioritizing human needs and equitable wealth distribution over corporate profit. There you have it, Leo. So the best
So,
example of this would be what? The project.
welfare,
The
Social
projects.
Security,
The projects.
Medicaid,
The projects.
Medicare.
Public
Which one do you
transportation,
want?
public school. So there you go. Anything with the word public in front of it, except for the public library in New York City, doesn't work. But according to Democratic Socialists, if we take over private property because of the landlords, we'll do better. But that's proven wrong because you just look at the projects. New York City public housing. That's it, Leo.
Hmm, I see. Well, let's take a look at New York City public housing. These are people that a lot of people there might not be able to afford housing in other areas. That's why they're there, and they're not living in the streets. I would call that successful, Dion. But maybe you like people living in the streets.
What are the conditions of the projects, Leo?
I don't know. I've never lived in the projects, Dion.
Horrible. And the mayor wants to
Oh,
make
so you
sure
know
that
because
the
you've been
public,
there? You lived in the projects?
my grandmother on my father's side lived in the projects, and I still do work in the project with tenant association
So what makes
presidents
them
and
horrible, Dion?
families. Well, horrible conditions. I mean, dilapidated buildings, poor repairs, always cold in the winter, always hot in the summer, and all that wonderful stuff. A whole bunch of
So
problems.
what you're saying is that the
Crime,
government, you're
the,
saying the government needs to run it better. I'll go for that. That's
the
probably true.
landlord, which is the mayor, horrible administrator, yes. But this
He's
is
only been there,
generational.
what, 3 months? Stop.
This is generational, Leo. Long story
So
short,
it
if
can
the
be
socialists
improved.
have it their way, it will be just like the projects.
So basically, it can be improved. I can go for that. Anything can be improved. I've had some slumlords that were private. I could definitely see where things can be improved. So your problem with it is it needs improvement in the projects. That is your one
No,
example. The
my problem
projects.
is that it's one example of what Democrat socialism would lead to, in which you could vote your way in, but you can't vote your way out of it. Ask Venezuela, ask Cuba, actually not Cuba, Cuba revolution, ask China. And all these people that vote for these
China is not a
administrations.
socialist country; it's communist. Why are you
Oh,
confusing the
okay.
two?
Well, then back to Venezuela.
Because let's look at communism. Because
How many this works out?
Trump is a communist. Now I said that right. So why would I say that? That sounds crazy. Did I say that? What is a communist, Dion? Would you like to tell us what a communism? I think I'll do this. I think this is my turn. I said Trump is a communist, and I will prove it in unshakable terms. Communism is a political and economic ideology that advocates for the abolition of private property and the creation of a classless, stateless society. Major resources and means of production, factories, mines, and farms, are owned by the public with wealth distributed based on individual need. Let's give an example. You ready? Donald Trump had the government buy a part of TikTok. The takeover, the partial takeover of TikTok, which will be which is supposed to have the wealth of a particular company distributed by the government, is an extreme example of communism. Am I correct, Dion?
You're wrong.
Whoa! Explain how you
Well,
feel
according to
that.
my research, they have a private joint venture, the United States government and the owners of TikTok, because
But
they
that's
want to
what I
make
said.
sure. No, no, no. You're saying the government owns TikTok.
It's
That's
not what I said.
wrong.
I said they have a partial ownership. That's what I said. So
This
you're
is not a
saying I'm
partial
wrong,
ownership.
and
This is
then you're
not a
repeating me.
partial ownership. This is like a joint venture, Leo. This
A
is where the
joint venture
government.
means a part. Like, okay, so you're not understanding
Let me read this again.
business.
Let's see. All right. Private joint venture called TikTok USDS Joint Venture LLC. This structure was formed to comply with federal national security mandates requiring the platform to divest from its Chinese parent company. Understand?
Uh, does the government own a part of TikTok?
According to this, in my interpretation, no.
That's then you didn't understand what you read.
Yes, please, Leo, educate us because we're closing up to 2 hours now. And I really have to go to the bathroom. I had a colonoscopy last week, remember?
Actually, you're right. I stand corrected. They are majority owned by American and allied private investors, with government agencies playing an oversight and monitoring role.
There we go. Dion did his homework for this episode, as always.
I see that. I see that.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I
So
was
I
right about
misunderstood
this,
you.
fans, what else could I have been right about?
Well, I was wrong about TikTok. While historically rare, the US government owns equity stakes or shares in several major private companies. The government generally acquires these holdings through federal programs, national security investments, or economic bailouts. That is communism. That is what communism is.
No, it's not because these people have this business have autonomy. The government doesn't really run the day to day.
You don't know that because you don't know what companies. So you don't know that, Dion. You're assuming, and that's an ad hoc. You're making stuff up in order. This is the fallacy. Once again, it's like the third time or fourth time this episode. We just made something up and added it in to try and make it sound good to try and save your argument, but it's not true. And as we move forward, so what about the fact that under Mandami, in a couple of months that he's been there, New York City has hit a record low crime rate?
Well, that was the continuing tradition, but the problem is it does not equate into positive quality of life. So that's why regular New Yorkers don't really feel it. Understand? So
So wait,
statistically,
wait. I don't understand. What you just said was a historically low crime rate does not equal a better quality of life. Is that what you just said? Is that
yes,
what you just said?
yes.
A lower crime rate, this is MAGA all the way. A lower
And
crime rate does not equal a better. Thank you, Dion. I love stuff like that. Audience, I'm not even going to argue that. Digest that. He just said that historically low crime rate does not equate to. Dion, would you repeat that?
that's right. Lower crime rate statistics do not equal to better
Better quality.
quality of life. So if you see defecation on the subway platform,
That's a
outside
crime,
the
Dion. That's a
street,
crime, Dion.
no, 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 that's a quality of life issue. That doesn't add to the crime statistics, which are lower and can be
Well, not
manipulated
having to be
and redefined.
so not having to worry about being raped, murdered, robbed, stabbed, shot doesn't equal to.
Remember, bail reform, Leo, because of bail reform, those numbers are now different because the people are being arrested, detained, and questioned. All that data doesn't exist anymore, Leo, because that added to the numbers before bail reform. And that's how it works at Comstat and the precincts and beyond with the commissioner's office, etc. So they always redefine terms thanks to bail reform.
Historically low crime rate.
There we go. The
Absolutely,
more you say it, the
absolutely,
more true it is.
absolutely. No, no, no. Okay. Um, let's just ask AI. Because, I'm not going to argue with you. You argue with AI. Because what you just said. Yes, a lower crime rate is generally a strong indicator of a better quality of life
We can't see you,
as it
Leo.
fosters
We can't
physical.
see Leo. You're not sharing the screen.
Oh, it's not. What the heck? I don't know what that was. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Let's try that one more game. Yes, a lower crime rate is generally a strong indicator of a better quality of life as it fosters physical safety, encourages community trust, and allows residents to utilize public spaces without fear. It correlates with better overall health outcomes, higher property values, and greater economic investment. And I can keep going, but that's what it is. You're not gonna find anything different than that. I can't believe you said that. All right. Anyway, the ICE arrests have skyrocketed. What's your thought on that? We only got a couple more things. I'm not going to get into Dr. Oz's craziness.
I just gotta go to the bathroom. Okay. So yes, that makes sense. They're doing aggressive push, Tom Homan in the inner city, sanctuary city. So that makes sense. And so now when Trump drops his numbers of people he wants to deport, they're maintaining, trying to work towards those goals.
And before we go, does that make you feel better that ICE is just arresting more people? They have a higher quota. And so what if these people are actually like the people that they're arresting are citizens or not? That is not factored in. They're arresting a lot of citizens. So you could be in the wrong place at the wrong time and be around a bunch of immigrants because let's say you're trying to get information from them, but you can be arrested because you're just there. That doesn't bother you?
No,
I didn't think it would because you're an 80-20 Trumpster. And we know what that means. It means you agree. You can't argue with too many things because that affects your bottom line, right? Can't argue too much against Trump. That's it for today. Do you have any closing statements?
we are the media, and now so are you. So make sure you share our content to make the algorithm pay attention to all of us by adding your own.
All right. I'm gonna let you get out of here because I know you gotta go. Hope everybody
Bathroom.
enjoyed this episode. We're here every Sunday, 9 p.m. Please like, share, subscribe. If you liked it, hit that like button. Share with your friends. Subscribe. But let's talk about this. Jump on in that chat. We appreciate everybody that came out. Happy 4th, everybody. I'm gonna talk to people in the chat as Dion departs. Take care, Dion. Let me see if there's anything I need to touch on. I'm glad about the Supreme Court. Glad you enjoyed the content, Raj. I'm glad you enjoyed the insight. Manjeet. That's right, Miss Rizzy. Everybody get some rest. And these Supreme Court decisions is crazy. Consequences of these rules deserve careful examination. More trusting debate on an important topic. Thank you, Risk. It is. It is interesting to see how different people are looking at the same thing and getting different things out of it. Thank you, Haman. Heman. We're definitely trying to check all of that out and deliver these different perspectives. That's what this think tank is about. And Surah Kumar, I'm glad that you're enjoying. We're gonna definitely always do this every Sunday. Thanks for coming back. Samir, I'm glad you have a lot to think about. I hope everybody enjoyed.